Welcome. Oh, hello, everybody, and welcome to The Happening. My name is Jorge Shaft, and I have got an exciting show planned for you today. I'm going to be talking about Boris Johnson. He has quite a lot of scandals going on. I'm not going to lie, it's kind of a lot. I've got to talk about New York. Yes, the great state where they have a horrendous governor. I've also got to talk about Belarus and one athlete who decided she actually doesn't want to go there. Not at all. But before we get to that, I'm going to cycle round to my first story today here on Relaks Radio with The Happening with Jorge Shaft. And that is, I'm going to pull out, as has become well established, my news sources. I have got inews.co.uk today for this one, and it is titled Government Draws Up Contingency Plans for Firebreak COVID Lockdowns Over Winter. Okay, that's not good. That doesn't sound good at all. Let's see what's going on. The government has put contingency plans in place for further COVID-19 lockdowns should the NHS be forced back to the brink over winter. While Number 10 is confident that the vaccine rollout will prevent COVID hospitalizations rising to the levels that led to previous lockdowns, there remains concern that the NHS could be put under intense pressure from issues such as a large resurgence in patients suffering serious flu symptoms. A senior government source has told I that the Prime Minister authorised planning for firebreak lockdowns if a number of factors combine to push the NHS to breaking point in the autumn and winter months. Hey, you ever read or watched The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? You get the little plants that go like, oh no, here we go again. Yeah, I'm feeling like that. I'm feeling like that right now. So what's happening here is something that's not completely out of the blue. We've been seeing, as people have been going out and about, and the world's been sort of opened up, and the world is not so terrible and lonely and depressing anymore. We have also been seeing, a little increase in the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm pulling up John Hopkins at the moment because I've been using it now for a full over a year, and it's not betrayed me once. And we can see that the pandemic is still healthily over in flow with millions of cases and a sharp rise in Britain as of late. This is despite the fact that we're very, very comfortably looking at the sort of stats in what could be called, a third wave. It's the daily cases are creeping up. As of yesterday, they were can't find the exact number, but it's more than it was 2 months ago. That's the easy part. All of this reminds me a lot of the Spanish flu again. This is something that I've talked about before, and I'll mention again how the Spanish flu, the last sort of deadly disease that rampaged around the world, killing millions and millions of people everywhere, had 3 waves. And there was wave 1, which was quite small, but there were people being killed. And then there was wave 2, which was giant, killed everybody. And then there was a wave 3 that was oh, you think you survived the first 2 rounds? Well, surprise! And looks like that's exactly what's happening. You look at the stats, it's going up, and then down, and then up, and then down. Which is unfortunate. I've I've been getting a bit sort of exacerbated as of late because, like, the lockdowns are just depressing. Like, and I mean that in the literal sense. Like, a lot of people, including honestly a bit myself, have been feeling a bit depressed. And then when the light's been out, the sun, there's good weather, there's people out and about, the pubs. I've been taking full advantage. I'm not gonna lie. No one's gonna sit here and pretend I'm like some kind of, quiet, no sort of, talking to anybody type of deal. I've been, chilling, chilling, living out in the world. It's just say it's sad, really. The government's been sort of, how should I put this? The government's been treading a bit of a careful line as it is at the moment when it comes to the pandemic. Like, because they know that people like me are not the only one. There's been this whole caucus in the parliament that's been like the kind of the freedom people, basically they like to call themselves. They've been talking about the sort of, hey, we've got like, too many restrictions already, we should get rid of them. So I've just gotten a comment that's been saying Bangladesh needs vaccine, sort of, a lockdown. I think that's something I was actually going to get to a bit later, but yeah, that the other countries, your story may differ, mileage may vary. But to get to the point, with the sort of lockdowns kind of, probably going to happen. The government's doing their kind of careful line of like, oh, maybe we're going to do it. Maybe if the cases start getting really bad, we might be doing it, and it's kind of like preparing us, in advance for. It's like it's going to be a slow build up of like, oh, hey, geez, like a lot of people dying of the plague. I don't know, and then like autumn comes around, and like because of sort of the weather and the way like the flu works, more people always die in like autumn and winter anyway, and more people need the NHS, so it always gets more kind of like crowded and clogged up anyway by like the very nature of the seasons. And then they'll be like, oh gee, look at that, all these people that they're like dying, and we don't want to die. Maybe we should be doing something about it. And the only way I can see it going is either like some kind of Hail Mary that of like, oh geez, turns out the vaccines like cured everyone, which won't happen because people do still get the COVID-19 disease with the vaccine. Don't get me wrong, it's not like they die from it. As it is right now, actually, only 1 in 4 people who have the disease right now are vaccinated, which, considering that about more than half the population has the vaccine, should tell you quite a lot about its effect, how efficient and effective it is. But still quite a lot of people, and everything looks like the numbers are going to just keep going up and up and up. Which, as I said, is unfortunate. I was just starting to like enjoy the weather, and like, oh man, there's people out there, and I get to like chat to them and build like social relations. I even yesterday got infected by this weird thing called community spirit. Yeah, I was like a drain. So after the rain, it was kind of blocked up, and I took out my pen and like unblocked it. I felt proud to watch the puddle like not splash people anymore when cars drove past. Like, this is what doing outside does to you. Makes you feel like a part of the the community of life. You get to see people and get to chat to them and find out, hey, by the way, how'd your date last night go? All this sort of stuff. And I was sorely missing a lot of it. To my surprise, during the first sort of lockdown, and especially during the second one, and now the third one, I can't say I'm going to be too happy about it. So socially, I think it'll probably be better off than the second lockdown was. If you remember, at the beginning of the second lockdown, I argued that socially it was going to be very, very bad because, the promise of the government was, we have a lockdown and save lives. But then they had the lockdown and I didn't save lives. That's what the second lockdown sort of admitted. But this third time around, I honestly don't think it will be so harsh. Mostly because there's been quite a lot of high-profile stories of people not getting their vaccines. There's a case just like 2 weeks ago of a pretty prominent solicitor in Liverpool who died of the disease, with his dying breath saying, "Oh, I'm so glad I never took the vaccine," and then he died. And I think that sort of stories and those sorts of news articles really do affect people because they see wow, look at all these fools, is what they think. Who aren't getting the vaccine and now they're dying. Oh, what an inconvenience. And so they don't blame the government. So socially probably better than the second lockdown, but I'm still going to be disappointed. I plan to go and see a play at the theatre at the end of August. But what do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section below. I always make a point of reading the comments here on Relaks Radio, on the Facebook. We're also streaming on other places. And in the meantime, and in between time, I'm going to let some other people have a chat. Trust me, they're really smart, really good, clever, intelligent people with great things to say. And I hope to catch you all again very, very soon.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important because when you're looking at your net worth, you've got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be so that there's a goal? And then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with and, your education level or your lack of education or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account. And then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time. And we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere.